Hey everybody, I want to take a minute and introduce you to ProPresenter 6 and show you how we use it on Sunday morning. So there's a few different sections here, and I'll go through them from left to right. In the upper left-hand corner is a black screen, and this screen is the same as the screen in the worship center. So whatever's on this black screen here is going to be on the screen above the stage. Just below that is a library, and you will not use this Sunday morning, but this is for typing in songs or other slides that we might need, finding them in the library, and then we can pull them into the order of service, which is down here. So you have the main screen, you have the library and search engine, then you have a playlist. Underneath the playlist there's two sections. One has dates, and you would just find the date of the service and click on that. When you do that, it will open an order of worship. It's similar to the order of worship that we have printed out that we get as a worship team. So it goes from pre-service through some of the intro songs, start of service, community events, and it goes essentially straight through our service. This is a service outline. If you click on these, the service outline, it'll actually expand this center section, which is the primary section that the person running ProPresenter uses. These are where we find our slides for songs, and we click through them. So at the beginning of service, we would start at the top of this outline where it says loop, and we would click on the first slide. And these are time slides. They're slides for pre-service, and that would coincide with the pre-service. At the same time, we would be playing audio, and I'll get to that, but over here is an audio player. And so we have songs already put in here. Just like the outline on paper, once the service starts, we go to the first song, and we can just scroll down in this center section to the first song. Click that, it introduces the song up here, and then you can click through the slides as the worship team is leading. Other things that we need to cover would be announcements. So there's always an announcement, and this is for the ProPresenter person. There's an announcement outline, which is a little more extensive than this. And there's gray highlights, and that indicates when you would put up a slide. So during announcements, once we got through worship and we get to announcements, we go to a black slide, and whoever is giving announcements would say, welcome, we're glad you're here. If you're watching us on Facebook, and we have a grayed out area, so we would click this next slide, which says watching on Facebook, please like and share. And that would be broadcast out. And then they would say the second part here, which is if you're new, we're glad you're with us, email us at, and we would go to the next slide. Are you new? And it gives us the email info@hopecov.com. So we would just go through those announcements. Sometimes they're grayed out. That means we're not giving that announcement this week. And we would just move to the next announcement and go down here. Sometimes these announcements have slides, the Navajo craft drive, and we would put that up, and it would be a little more elaborate. And that would get us through announcements. Usually those are all set up in order for you. Everything should be set up in order for you. If there is a video, you would just click the giant play button right here, and that would play the video. And pause it. A couple other things that I want to cover, so that and we just go through service, is after worship, you would go through the next worship song. You'd keep scrolling down here, and you would get to the sermon. Sermon slides are similar in that Jim and Doug and whoever's giving the message has an outline, and they highlight the slides that need to be put up while they're talking. So you can follow along. along with their sermon, they get down to this part and they say, now Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountainside, sat down the disciples, and he said, blessed are the poor in spirit. And then you would click that slide, it would come up here, and it would be broadcast out. And he would go through this, and then once he's kind of done, you usually want to leave those up at least 15, 20 seconds for people to have time to read it and really absorb it. Let it sit there. Once that's passed, you want to go back to a black slide. Usually there's black slides throughout the slides. Unless there's going to be, two highlighted areas, one immediately after the other, which is the case here. Jim did a really good job last week having these slides in order, and then boom, he has a black slide. Sometimes you have to go to a black slide like that. Other times, and this is one of the things I wanted to point out, is up in the upper left-hand corner there are a few buttons where you can just clear slides. So you can hit this X and that would clear it all, or you could hit this one and that would clear the slide. This can be helpful when you end up, if for some reason the screen ends up a mess and you end up with a slide like this, and then you try to put lyric slides over it and you get the song and the other slide. You can just hit this X and it'll clear all, and then you can put up whatever you need. This one is clear all, this one is clear slides, and this one is clear background. So if you had this up and you put the slide up and you just didn't want the background in there, you could just hit clear background and then you'd have the song slide. So there's some helpful buttons there. And you would continue straight through this. This is all the worship songs, and then you get to the sermon, and after the sermon there's the song of response, and then there's sort of our closing song. Again, you can actually play this audio player. You can play the songs from here, or you can just play them from the audio player. The other thing I like to ask, there's a couple more things I'll talk about. One is, I ask that you make sure that the audio up here, the audio player is, actually that's just a loop video, never mind, that is not audio. But when you're playing audio from here, that once the worship team starts or once someone starts speaking, that you do make sure that this is off. So if this is playing a song here, this is the audio player here. That you, once worship starts, you make sure to pause that. Even if the volume goes down in the room and you can't hear it, doesn't mean it's not streaming or still in the headphones of someone up front and those kinds of things. So it is important that that's off. The other thing I like to ask is when you are doing slides for songs, worship songs, I ask that whoever's running the slides just make sure that they're ahead of the singer. So if you have this slide that says, here I am down on my knees again, surrendering all, you don't wait until the person finishes again and then click it, because it takes a few seconds, and the people watching and wanting to engage in singing are wondering what the next words are. So I prefer if you hit it a couple words before the slide ends. Here I am, down on my knees, again, surrendering all. Like, just kind of get ahead of the song when you're switching slides. And that's really it. There's not a whole lot when it comes to running Sunday morning with ProPresenter. It's really just being on top of the slides and making sure that we're hitting them in a timely manner, that we're giving people time to read the sermon slides, and that we're ahead of the lyric slides. All right, thanks.